Good evening and welcome. This is the May 28th public hearing of the Land Use Commission. The City Code directs this body to hear applications for map and text amendments, special uses including plan developments, zoning relief, and appeals from decisions of the zoning administrator, as well as to make recommendations regarding the city's long-term planning goals and objectives. Depending on the type of matter, this commission will either make a final determination or send its recommendation to the City Council. Would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aravallo?
Here.
Commissioner Berlin?
Here.
Commissioner Harris-Ferry?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Mabadi?
Here.
Commissioner Mangum? Commissioner Marinchev?
Here.
Commissioner Patel?
Here.
Chair Lindwall?
Here. With 7
Yes.
members present. We'll get the math down one of these days. We have a quorum. Also present tonight from city staff are neighborhood and land use planner Megan Jones and planning manager Liz Williams. This is a formal hearing and there are rules that govern our proceedings. Most importantly, only one person speaks at a time so that all testimony may be accurately recorded. Anyone who wishes to address the commission regarding any matter on tonight's agenda will have an opportunity to do so at the appropriate time. Our procedure is to hear from staff on the documents on file and then receive testimony and other evidence from the applicant or appellant. After that, persons wishing to make a statement regarding the matter will have a chance to do so. Any person with a legal interest in property located within the defined notification requirements of the subject property may present evidence, reasonably question witnesses, or seek a continuance of the hearing. When all supporting and opposing testimony and statements have been heard, the applicant or appellant will be given the opportunity for rebuttal or a closing statement. Then the commission will close the record and begin deliberations to consider the standards. The commission will make formal findings of fact based on the testimony and evidence presented, guided by the standards, the commissioner's knowledge of our community, and recommendations of staff. All testimony is taken under oath. Although we do not apply the strict rules of evidence, please limit your testimony to the proposal as it relates to the standards contained in the zoning ordinance and corresponding staff memorandum. When testifying, please state your name and address for the record and sign in on the provided public comment sheet. Our meetings are audio and video recorded. Please make sure that you are at a microphone and when asking questions or making statements so that you can be properly recorded. All proceedings are subject to broadcast at a later date. Any matter not concluded at tonight's hearing will be continued to our next regularly scheduled meeting. There is one item on the agenda, the major variation at 1630 Ashland Avenue. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. If you plan on speaking on a matter tonight before the commission, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout the course of these proceedings? Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that, first up on our agenda, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. And I'd also like to note that Commissioner Harris-Ferry, right? Yes, and Commissioner Johnson have joined us. All right. So the first up are the meeting minutes from January 22nd, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. I noted 2 fairly minor corrections that need to be made on page 4 or under at the beginning of the public testimony. the first paragraph, Patrick Mulhern, down toward the bottom, I believe it should read Mulhern suggested maintaining current heights. So I think that's just a typo. And then on page 7 of the meeting minutes, the next to the last paragraph, John Fisher, resident of 1566. So we do not have a Dwyer Avenue in Evanston, so I'm not quite sure where he lives, but that's not it. And that's the only thing I saw. So with that, all in favor of the January 22nd minutes, say aye.
Aye.
And I know we have 2 members, or 3. So who needs to abstain? Okay, it's with 3 abstentions. The second set of minutes are from January 29th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any corrections or that anyone saw? All right, with that, all in favor of approval of those minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, you're, okay, Commissioner Johnson abstains.
I abstain.
So I think it's just really 3 of us who are here for that meeting. What? Oh, yes, we have 4 votes. All right. With that, the new business is major variation, 1630 Ashland Avenue, case 25ZMJV-0017. Who's going to read this into the record? Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is major variation 25ZMJV0017. Peter Kading, architect and applicant on behalf of the homeowner, requests major variations for a north interior side yard setback of 1 foot, where 5 feet is required and 6 inches is the existing legally nonconforming condition, and a rear yard setback of 5 feet, where 30 feet is required and a 28 foot is the existing legally nonconforming condition. The Land Use Commission is the determining body for this case in accordance with Section 6-3-8 of the Evanston zoning ordinance. I wanted to note that staff is in support of the application before you this evening. This is also, this project is in a historic district and has received a certificate of appropriateness that previously was reviewed by the Preservation Commission and was deemed substantially compliant with that prior review based on this application permit.
Okay, so would the applicant like to come up and tell us about the project?
Sure. Peter Kading for the owners of 1630 Ashland. This project, I know I've seen some of you before for a similar project. We've made some modifications, but the basic project is to demolish the existing detached garage, which dates from most likely the 1950s on the original 1890s home, and relocate it further to the west in the backyard in largely the same configuration where we'll have the 2 concrete strips leading from Ashland Avenue with an existing curb cut leading to the garage at the rear. The main objectives with this is to give the owners, 1, a bigger garage. The current garage is barely sufficient for a single car, let alone bicycles, soccer balls, et cetera, et cetera. So we're proposing a 2-car stack garage, primarily in the rear yard. And then additionally, we are able to go forward a couple. Is there any trick to this? We could keep going forward. Maybe to one of the renderings. So yeah, go back to that's the original 1890s rendering. And in, you can see that there was no attached garage, and there is the two-story loggia with the brackets on the bottom. Those brackets are currently entirely within the existing garage. Two of them are completely intact. Two of them have been hacked away to accommodate the garage door. This project would seek to restore those brackets and make them visible again. If we could go forward to a rendering showing a similar view. So you can see there the location of the garage in relation to the loggia. The roof proposed is asymmetrical so that we can have a full slope from the front elevation and have it hit the existing house. The two problems that we have worked to overcome are, one is the rear yard setback. So previously it was as close as 3 feet to the rear yard lot line. We've moved it to 5 feet. This has helped with the neighbor to the west who previously objected to the project. She withdrew her objections last fall once we agreed that we could do this 5-foot setback and add some landscaping. The other one is obviously how close it is to the north lot line. The existing garage is only 6 inches from the lot line, so we're proposing to move it to a whole foot. Actually, sort of being facetious, but that actually would help with construction and footings. We don't foresee a problem with this location since it's so similar to what's already there. We've submitted a letter talking from both the new neighbor. Previously, there was an elderly neighbor who was selling the house last time we were here. She has since sold the house. The new neighbors are, have taken a look at the plans and are okay with them. They've also said that during construction, it would be acceptable for us to go onto their lot to do some work. The contractor submitted a short letter as well, saying he only needs a couple feet for a short duration of time to construct it. The maintenance of the house, or the garage, I should say, will remain similar to what's currently there and what's been there for close to 75 years. I think that's the main thrust of the project.
Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Johnson?
The neighbor that, so last time you were here, one of the neighbors is a new neighbor since that point?
Correct.
And that's the lady to the north?
The neighbors to the north, it's a couple with,
Okay.
I believe they have children.
They have a young child, 5 years old. They're in the process of moving in. They're coming from North Carolina.
Got it, okay, thank you. But the neighbor to the west, across the alley, that's the same neighbor?
There's no alley there.
Well, right, the one that,
No, that's a different neighbor. The neighbor to the west, Ellen Prieto, she was concerned about how close it was to her lot line.
Yeah.
That's why we increased the setback to 5 feet. There, I believe in our materials, there's a letter where she has retracted her objections
yeah,
since we did that.
but she's the same person that had,
Yes, she's the same
Okay.
neighbor. That neighbor has not changed.
and that's the door, it's a pedestrian door, that's right. Is that the door to her dwelling, or is that?
Her side door it doesn't actually align with the garage, but faces our rear yard,
Okay.
our
All right.
entry door, her main entry door.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a real quick one. I was looking at the rendering, and you're basically doing a 2-car stacked garage.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So I was looking at the photograph of that side of the house, and I noticed that the power is coming in on that side of the house. Is there any concern about, one, access to power? If you're going to pull the structure back, will that create any challenges in the future for accessing, dealing with the power issue? Because I'm not sure where that power lands on the house. But
And
because of this-
obviously, it becomes a question of what ComEd will allow, and if we need to relocate power, that would be part of the permit process and the building process to get all the necessary sign-offs.
I see. So then that would be fine then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Other Commissioner
Hi, I
Puckett?
have one question. I'm glad you're back. I hope we move this along tonight. Sorry it's been taking so long. Just one thing I've noticed as I was reviewing the documents, has there been any consideration for a potential safety issue for that door on the north face, potentially creating a conflict point with a vehicle passing right there?
Well, it should be, the door is nestled within the middle of the brackets. And so, while I do know the family and they do have, several boys approaching driving age, it's not somewhere you should be able to go very fast because the brackets are there. It's not a wide space. So appropriate caution should, of course, be taken. But it's probably true of most driveways in, attached to houses.
All right. Thank you.
I just have one. It wasn't, there's a window kind of, that's next to the garage. Does that impact kind of where the placement? I mean, could you have moved the garage entry any further to the east than you had? I appreciate that you now have a 5-foot setback, which is better than the 3-foot.
To a side elevation?
Yeah, I know there's a window right there.
There's a window there, in somewhere there's probably a better, true side elevation. And architecturally, I think that giving it a little bit of space is probably nicer than moving the garage, tight to it. Of course, it would be possible, but probably not preferable.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anyone else? All right. I guess in that case, I can go through the standards. And there are 7 standards with respect to the variation. Number 1 is, and I presume there wasn't anybody else who wanted to testify. You don't have to, but you can. Before I go into the standards, I'd like to take the...
Since you're talking about standards, I'm the neighbor to the north, to the south.
Okay.
On the other side. We've been there 43 years. Mitch Brusky, 1624 Ashland. Only that the Updikes have been very careful about restoring their house to its original state. I think they've done a really great job of that. To the driveway's right there, and it's okay by me. That's it.
Okay. And you don't need to say, you don't have anything else to say at this point? Okay, at that point, I will close the public testimony, and now we'll get into the standards, since we've already kind of had our deliberation. Number 1 is the requested variation will not have a substantial adverse impact on the use, enjoyment, or property values of adjoining properties. We have letters from the 3 closest neighborhoods, all in support of the project, so there's no reason to believe there would be an adverse impact. So that standard is met. The requested variation is in keeping with the intent of the zoning ordinance. The proposed project provides usable garage and updated modern garage space, and the zoning ordinance anticipates that properties will change over time, so that standard is met. The alleged hardship or practical difficulty is peculiar to the property. This was a historic house that was built long before there were cars that you had to contend with, and it was originally part of a larger property that was subdivided over time. And I think, basically, we've heard both previously and in this packet that almost any location would trigger the need for some sort of variation request. The current proposal seems to be probably the least impactful, so this standard is met. Number 5, either the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to extract additional income from the property, or while the granting of the variation will result in additional income to the applicant, and while the applicant for the variation may not have demonstrated that the application is not based exclusively upon a desire to extract additional income from the property, the Land Use Commission or the City Council, depending on the final jurisdiction under Section 6-3-8-2 of this chapter, has found that public benefits to the surrounding neighborhood and the city as a whole will be derived from approval of this variation, and that include but are not limited to any of the standards of Section 6-3-6-3 of this chapter. This proposed variation is intended to provide garage space for the current owner, and they're not going to be renting out their parking spaces, or there's been no testimony to indicate that that would happen. So this standard is met. The alleged difficulty or hardship has not been created by any person having interest in the property. This building has existed with a current garage for, close to 75 years. So, none of the parties were living there or currently living here, so that standard is met. The requested variation requires the least deviation from the applicable regulation among feasible options identified before the Land Use Commission issues its decision or recommendation to the City Council regarding said variation. The current project as proposed increases the rear setback to the west, which is greater than what was previously proposed. Also, while the north setback is only a foot, it is a increase from the current condition. So this standard is met. Do my fellow commissioners agree with my findings on the standards? All right. With that, may I have a recommendation from the commissioner?
Yes. Okay, I move that we approve the request for major variations in the case of 1630 Ashland Avenue, 25 ZMJV-0017 for the two variations as described in the packet.
I second.
Okay. Would you call the roll?
Commissioner Aravallo?
Yes.
Commissioner Berlin?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris-Faree?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Mabadi?
Yes.
Commissioner Medinchev?
Yes.
Commissioner Puctel?
Yes.
And Chair Lindwall.
Yes. With, was it 8 in favor?
Yes.
Leave and none against. The variations are granted. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
All right, and that concludes the public hearing for this case, so that's officially closed. Next up on our agenda are communications. Do we have any?
I just wanted to give the commission a heads up that we will be canceling our June 11th Land Use Commission meeting. We do not have any cases for that agenda, but we do anticipate that there will be items for the second meeting in June that is scheduled. So just wanted to give you a heads up, and Megan and the team will take care of that formal cancellation notice.
Okay, thank you.
Rem-
What, June 11th?
So June 11th, you're saying you're going to cancel?
Correct.
But the next one is
June 25th.
25th, okay. Didn't have that on my calendar, okay.
I think we had previously put a lot of things on the calendar due to Envision Evanston and just wanted to make sure everybody had it. So
Okay.
I will probably go back to sending the calendar invitation with the meeting packet information or cancellation,
Okay.
as it may be. Unless you want me to put it on your calendar for the rest of the year, I can do that as well.
Honestly, personally, having them on sooner rather than
Okay.
later is helpful, if you don't mind.
Okay.
It's generally the second
Yeah, second and fourth.
second and fourth Wednesday.
Okay, I can do that myself.
And I think, and maybe what you might want to do is just send around the calendar that we approved. Again,
Yeah, I can do that too.
that might be just as simple, and then we can make sure we have them in our own calendars. Okay, public comment. We have no members of the public present. So with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.